Welcome back. Well, panic attacks can include breathing difficulties, sweating, dizziness, trembling, chest pain, palpitations, all of these things, plus probably a whole pile of other things. Bay naturopath Jaine Kirtley joins us now to tell us more. Welcome to the show, Jaine.
Thank you, nice to be here.
So, panic attacks, what's actually happening in our bodies when we're having one?
Well, in a panic attack, the adrenaline is produced. So the adrenaline is what we call the fight or flight hormone. So that's sort of, if you imagine what would happen if I saw a tiger. Okay, so what would happen with the body would produce adrenaline. And as it produces that adrenaline, that will make me feel fearful, which is a really good thing when there's a tiger about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You want to be scared. And you also want resources to go to your brain so that you can think, what am I going to do? And you also want resources to go to your arms and legs so you can run really fast and climb and get away from that tiger. So this adrenaline will give those symptoms and make your heart beat a lot faster, hence those palpitations, to get all the blood around so that your muscles can work well and you can move fast. Also give you that fearful feeling and make your thoughts sort of a little bit racy. So those are all the symptoms you get in a panic attack. Good thing to have that adrenaline when there's tigers, not so good when there's no tigers there, because it can be quite frightening, as well as that fear anyway, but just all of those symptoms, you think, well, what's happening to me?
Should only be happening when it should be happening,
yeah,
for
exactly.
a very good reason. How many people experience this? I mean, is it common?
Yeah, it's a pretty common reaction, and often mostly people have triggers. Sometimes there might have been an event that originally triggered their panic attack, maybe some trauma or something they found very frightening originally. And then when similar things happen, or there's something within that scenario that sort of happens again, then they're more likely to get the panic attack. So for instance, if somebody's been in a car accident, which would be very frightening, perhaps they'll get panicky every time they get in a car, or perhaps when they pass a certain point in the car, which might have been near the place where they had the accident. But it's important
I get that one.
yeah. And it's also important to mention that if people do get these symptoms, that they check out that there isn't anything else going wrong with their heart or their circulation or any other problem. So get it checked out first. It does a couple of things. One, if there is something else going on, it rules it out. And the other thing, you can be reassured to say, okay, I've had a thorough check. My heart isn't going to give up on me, I'm fine. It's just this adrenaline that's making this happen. And if you understand the process, it can sometimes help actually deal with the symptoms at the time of the panic attack.
Okay, so is it only fear that causes causes panic attacks, or there are other things
Any
that cause
kind
it?
of stress, tension, especially long-term stress and tension, any underlying anxiety. Sometimes people, when they've got mental health problems with anxiety states, will with that develop a panic attack. Yeah.
Where does food fit in with this?
Definitely, the nutrients are really important. So if people are sort of having a very high sugar diet, or a diet that's very high in very poor quality fats, like the trans fats, sort of things like the chippies, the sort of overcooked, a lot of the fast foods, they're having that kind of diet.
Comfort
they're not.
food.
Yeah, they found that people having that kind of diet are more likely to get panic attacks, and they're more likely to reoccur more frequently if they're having that kind of diet. You take the sugars out and the poor quality fats and put in good quality fats, fruits, vegetables, great quality proteins like fish, then people have less of panic attacks because they're getting the nutrients the body actually needs.
It's interesting that you say that, really, because we often move into eating more sugars and fatty foods because we're comforting ourselves and we feel that we need them, but in actual fact we're not doing our body any good at all.
No, that's right. And one other thing that happens with the adrenaline, when it's produced a lot over a long period of time, so this keeps on getting this adrenaline, well, either sort of the little receptor sites that say in the body, look, got enough adrenaline, stop pumping, they don't really give that feedback. So the person gets a lot of adrenaline for virtually nothing. So they can sort of intellectually know, look, it's fine for me to be late to the supermarket, I'm not on a big schedule, but at the same time they think, oh, I gotta getting all totally head up about the traffic lights that aren't changing or whatever, their little hold-ups.
Because we just think of that as impatience. It can become a panic attack.
And it can increase more adrenaline, and it can be a sign of overproduction of adrenaline.
It's good to really analyse that, isn't it?
Yeah, and the flip side of that is if the person isn't sort of doing this highly anxious, oh, what am I doing, they're sort of, oh, I can't move. Because they get this big adrenaline surge, then it comes down again, and they're just, oh, I'm exhausted. Now, when they're feeling exhausted like that, it can be, give me some
Yeah,
sugar,
absolutely.
to give me a bit of zip.
I think
And
we've all been there, haven't we?
you don't need that zip. You need to say, right, I've got to have a really good meal. I've got to have a glass of water to start off with. Give myself a decent meal. What's the best I can do? Can I get some veg? Can I get some fruit? Can I get you know, a boiled egg, or you know, something like that? Just even something simple to help bring back the more stability in your body, nutrient-wise.
Really, really good information, Jane. I don't think we all realise that the amount of times we actually get on the edge of having a panic attack, so that's fantastic information. Thank you so much for coming. Great to have you on the show, but of course you're back shortly.
Yeah, we're back
with
soon.
us. We'll be talking about something else. Yes, Jane is going to stay with us and we'll be talking about fertility, infertility issues right after the break.